Good morning. It's day 135. Yeah, I got in late last night, like right as it was starting to get dark, so I didn't get much footage. And then I was pretty wiped out. But by the time I was done with dinner and everything, it was pitch dark, and all the other campers were turned in. Hikers, campers. Also, I had to go like 0.4 miles to get water. So by the time I got back from water, it was pretty much dark. So I did not get any footage of last evening. And this morning I just slept in. Yesterday really sapped me. It was like 90, probably 93 was the high, but a large portion of the day was, as you probably saw, was exposed, not shaded. I'm on those boardwalks through the swamps, the marshes, and then that massive climb at the end. So I was wiped out. I just let myself sleep in this morning. I'm on trail now, headed to Greenwood Lake. I just reserved a bunk at a hostel, and I've got 10 miles, and so it'll be mid-afternoon. So not the longest day, but not short enough for me to call it a Nero, I think. I think my over-under on Nero now is 8. As I've established that for myself. But today is a 10 point something, maybe just a 10.1 even. So headed that way, and we'll do some resupply and some post office and things like that this evening. If I get to the post office before the end of post office business, I may have to do that part in the morning. Didn't think of that. Well, anyway, I'll work it out when I can. I had not even looked at the schedule or the map beyond today. I was just today was my target, and so I hadn't really looked beyond it. But anyway, I'm hiking, so. It's very jungly right here, in a pretty way. Well, here we are, one more state down, entering New York State. I've set foot in New York a couple of times because the trail has kind of been touching the border here and there, and I went into Unionville a couple of nights ago, which was, let's just impale myself on a branch. Unionville was in New York by a couple hundred yards, a few city blocks. But now we are permanently and officially in New York State. So what are we up to? Is that number 10, number 9? Think about that. State number 9. So five more states, which are, let's see if I can do this. Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, that's 4. What am I missing? What did I miss? So yeah, New York is number 9. I got that part right. It was the other 5 I miscounted because I forgot Massachusetts. So it's Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine are the next 5. It's another hot day. In fact, arguably today's the hottest day. Probably hotter than yesterday. Fortunately, I only have 10 miles, not 17. But it's hot, I gotta say. hiking over a lot of these for the last little bit. It's nice and hot. Ah, two-hand. That's a nice purple though. Okay. This feels great. It's hot. I've been climbing. I hope this is the summit for a little while at least. But we go over this exposed rock. You can see hills, several layers of hills in that direction. It's just sort of to the, what time is it? 12:30. A little bit to the south, I guess. South or southeast. I'm just getting up from a little break I took at exactly the halfway point. So I've got 2.5 hours to here and 2.5 hours to go, maybe 5 or 10 minutes less than that. So, you know, it puts me there at 4. It's 1:30. I probably took a 45-minute break just sitting here listening to podcasts and drinking water and eating a bar of something. So I'm back on trail, and I should have a water stop in about 1/3 of a mile. There's a creek that flows. I stopped here at a creek, but it's pretty much dried up, so I'm gonna leave a comment, but stop at the next creek. Here's eye level, and there's the trail. It's quite challenging today, but not difficult. Coming down that would be difficult, but I was coming up that, so. Oh yeah, I forgot about these. Didn't realize that was today. It's rebar time. Going over these rocky tops again. 2 p.m. Very hot and strenuous, but good. Well, here's another one of these. I gotta go straight up through there. There's the next blaze. I don't know if you can see it, top left corner. So I'm like a half a mile or less from the end, which is the intersection of 17A. And I'm gonna get picked up there to go to Lost and Found Hostel for the night because I need to spend some time in this town doing some resupply and picking up some mail and stuff like that. So it's almost 4 o'clock. It'll be about 10 after 4 when I get there. And that will be it for my hike today. So almost there. We arrived at 17A, so just a matter of my ride arriving. It could be any minute. I texted him, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. Probably got here quicker than I thought I would.